Hey, it's Rob again here. I got another video to show you. This is a brand new build by my friend Kevin. You've probably seen some of his other videos on my channel. He just worked on this over the winter. It's by Blazer Marine, called the Slingshot model. And Kevin's sitting back here. I'm going to zoom out, and he's going to tell us all about this build. Again, he worked on it all winter long. Hey, Kev.
Hey Rob, how we doing today, buddy?
Good, man. Good. Thanks for showing us your new boat. Always love to see your projects. You do a great job. And tell us a little bit about this model, Kev.
Okay, we've got what we've got here is a Blazer Marine Slingshot. It's considered what they call a rigger, and you can do either a big block or a small block, depending on what your preference is. And with this boat in particular, we decided to go with a big block. It is a custom-built 30.5 cc Pro Mod from BH Hanson. Al is a great guy down there at BH Hanson. He does a fantastic job, very technical, very knowledgeable. And if you ever do get a motor from him, he'll help you and make a great decision on what you want to do. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this power plant performs. With this particular boat, I've switched all my gas RC boats over to a pulley instead of a hand pull. They're perfectly legal for racing, and I'm just getting too old. My shoulders are too weak to pull start these big bad boys anymore, so we use a pulley and an electric starter with a belt. Works awesome. The boat's engines start up a lot better than a pull start. It's like everything else. If you've got an electric start on something, you're going to get fast compression and fast ignition, and the boat starts up in less than 2 or 3 seconds every time. Works perfect. So this is a 30 cc large big block. It's got a 1048 Zenoa carburetor on it. Regular drive shaft setup as normal. Our fuel bag's up in front here. And we're running a Zip Kits exhaust manifold pipe on this, set for 13.5 inches, which is just a good starting point. We did a little customizing with our linkage here for our throttle. These boats are big and they're fast, so you want to make sure everything is built strong so that it'll hold together and you can work on them. So the key is, when you're building a linkage, you want it watertight. You want it nice and strong. We did a cross support right here to stiffen it right up. Once I turn the radio on, you'll see how amazing those little braces work. Inside of here, we've got the RC side of the boat. We're using Savox servos, 260 ounce torque for the rudder and 180 ounce torque for the throttle. We use a Life battery in here for the battery pack. And I actually use Tactics radios for my control. I like them. They're easy to use, and I'm old school, so I don't do real good with those programmable radios. We've got our standard water cooling here. I oversized the water tubing up to 3/16, and I ran separate brass tubing all the way through the hull and exit back here by the rudder. Comes out nice. All Speedmaster hardware on this boat. They are the best. If you want quality in a product for steering and throttle, they're the best. They really are. Speedmaster's really strong. And I'll just show Rob, he can zoom on this. There is no play in that rudder at all. It is tight, very, very tight. There's a lot of tricks. There's a lot of trick linkages and stuff in there, but it's as you go along. We're running a really nice prop done by Bob Austin, Prop Works. This is a 7217, and we're running a 470 pitch on it. We can take the pitch up a little higher once we get the motor broke in. But with these Blazer Marine motors, you want to make sure, the BH Hanson motors, Al's pretty finicky about how you break these motors in, so you got to run a few tanks through them. And I like to keep the pitch down a little when you're breaking these motors in so it doesn't strain them before you get them set up. So once we get this boat dialed in and we get the tanks run through and everybody's happy, we'll probably jump the pitch up on the prop by about 10% and give us a little bit more speed. We're hoping to get close to 80 on this thing, but we won't know until we actually hit the water. I'm going to turn the radio on now and just give you a quick little sight on the beauty of these linkages and the controls. They are super, super tight. The throttle works really nice and smooth. There's no bind. It's nice and clean, and it's strong. All through here, it's all about a nice tight fit. Because remember, when these boats are screaming at their 20,000 RPMs and you're going 60, 70 miles an hour, there's a lot of stress in there, okay? Another little trick I do here, obviously I got a shaft saver because I don't want to lose that $120 prop until I'm sure it's going to work right. But if you look real close, right by the end of my finger, you're going to see a little solder blob on there. What we do with the stuffing tube is you've got the outer tube and then you've got an inner tube. The outer tube is what's fixed to the hull, and the outer tube is actually what runs from this rudder, from the strut all the way up to your exit point where your shaft is. What we do is on that first tube, the outer tube, we drill a tiny hole before we put the inner tube in. And once you put the inner tube all the way up, then you put a little bit of solder, drop it in that hole, and it keeps the shaft from pulling out and moving while you're racing the boat. It's a little trick I learned a long, long time ago, and it works well because that tube actually goes up inside the strut itself, and with a lot of movement, it can move if you don't have it tight. But you've got to be able to repair it. That's the key. So, for example, if you hit this boat flipped in a race and someone hits you, I'm just going to swing this up for a second, guys. We'll show you this in a minute. But if somebody hits that brass tube and bends it, you're out of the race. But the key is that if someone does hit it, all you have to do is pull your shaft out completely, heat that little solder ball up with a heating iron, and the tube pulls right out. And then you fix the bent tube by putting another tube back in, solder it up, you're good to go. That way you don't have to redo the whole boat to still keep racing that day.
Awesome tip, Kev.
Thank you. So yeah, we got our throttle right here, nice and smooth, nice and tight. And then back here, the best part is the rudder. It's a quick, nice, smooth action on it, all the way inside of here. We use a heavy-duty 440 ball joint here and here, and we've upgraded both the servos to aluminum servo horns, so it limits flex. Nice and quick, got everything you need. We're getting excited. We hope to get this wet. All right, we're going to shut this down for a minute, and then we'll show you one or two more things, and we'll wrap this video up.
All right, thanks, Kev.
Another strong point on these motors, just so everybody knows, I usually always do what they call a coil relocator. In other words, I take the coil, which would be normally hanging out here, out of the way so I can use the pulley. That way I can start the motor and you don't want any interference because you put a vacuum cleaner belt on here. As a matter of fact, and you have your starter motor up here, you hold the boat down, you push the trigger, and start it just like you would a nitro boat. It starts right up. So when you relocate everything, you've got to remember, you've got aluminum and aluminum, but you don't have a real good bind and bond for your spark. Because without a good spark, you're not going anywhere. So what I've learned from friends and reading is what I do is I take a ground wire from here, which is the actual ground for this coil, and you take the ground coil and you run a ground line all the way down, and you can see it right back here. I ground this coil directly to the block. So you're getting two grounds. So when you turn this thing over, it sparks right on. Okay? Just a nice little feature. You guys will love it if you do it. You'll never, especially if you're pull starting a boat, you want to have the best spark possible.
Great idea.
Okay, so that's about a wrap for today for this project, and we're looking forward to getting her wet. So we're gonna put everybody back on. The cowl, by the way, just a little bit of extra. This is an add-on feature. This is not standard with the Slingshot kit that you get, but this boat needs a lot of air. It's a big block, got a lot of horsepower. You've got a 1048 carbs, got a big barrel on it. She wants to breathe, okay? But in the case of breathing, we've got to make sure that we stop any water from getting in to the carburetor while you're racing 5 other boats. So the key to this is that I welded this in with fiberglass and then obviously fixed it all in, but we've got a nice big suction hole there. We'll get plenty of air in there without any water.
I see the rubber seal on there too, Kev.
Yep, I forgot about that. There's a cup.
Seal.
Yep, there's a cup right here so the water doesn't come up in. So this thing is tight. When you put this cowl down, the only place you're going to get air is right there. That's what you want. Because you've always got, if you're racing somebody, their rooster tail can come right over your top. And this way, you're far enough back that you'll get air. Hopefully, you'll get air and no water. But we'll find out once we get her wet. Have a great day, everybody.
Awesome.
Let's all race soon.
All right, thanks, Kevin. We'll look forward to seeing this in the water. It's winter time now in upstate New York, but we're hoping in a few months to get this in the water, and we'll make a video and let you guys see this boat go, because again, I'm excited to see it run in the water as well. Thanks again, Kev, and
Alrighty,
have a great day.
one.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thanks.